face, she seemed pretty happy. She was a little irritated that conservative, influencers just ripping on her. I mean, we got to be able to have conversations, don't we?
Yeah, listen, I really like where MTG is. And I know it's not always exactly everything Trump wants to hear, but I like where she's coming from. People are mislabeling her. I think if people are saying she's moving left, she's really not. She's an issue by issue person, as am I, because you and I both know I don't like tariffs. There's things I don't love, but I do love everything Trump's done and the America First policy. So I'm kind of feeling her vibe, so to speak.
There you go. All right. I'll keep an eye on your Bitcoin.
Please. Under 100. Get back up there. Get it back up there. All right. Tuesday, markets close, 4 o'clock. Let's take a quick look. Rough day, 245 in the Dow. That was a lot more earlier. But Nasdaq really took in a chin. Palantir, it's a big tech stock, was down 9% at one point, maybe even 10%, based on some earnings or some forward-looking numbers. So that started to tumble. And I do believe, folks, that electing a socialist mayor in New York City, the financial capital of the planet, certainly of the United States, but probably the financial capital of the planet, certainly bigger than London, I would say that's number 2. Doing that, socialism has a tendency to creep. And I think maybe investors are saying, got a big profit this year, got a lot of money, let's start selling, taking some profits. And I think that's what you saw. Gold took some profits, oil down, that's the good news. And then we talked about Bitcoin. It literally dipped under 100,000 Bitcoin to the Bitcoin for just a brief second, jumped back up over to 100 and change thousand. But that's a 27% slide off the top. That is that's really, really rough. All right. As promised, I'm my first guest, a great friend, not only to our show, not only to the network, but also a friend of mine. She's the Congresswoman from Georgia who took on the women from The View this morning. Always happy to have Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene on the show. Congresswoman, you had we were all waiting for the fireworks. You had a very civil conversation with the women of The View. Were you surprised they were civil back towards you?
I was surprised, but honestly, Eric, I think that's the tone that is needed in the country today. And that's the tone that I feel is needed. And I also hear it a lot back at home. People are really tired of the political drama and the political drama in Washington that we're watching every single day today, especially with the shutdown, is not solving any problems. And most people that I talk to, they care about the cost of living. They're extremely upset about health insurance premiums. And they're really looking very closely at their bank accounts right now. And those are the things I care about. Those are the things that are important in my district. We're very thankful to President Trump for all the secure border and immigration policies that they have brought for us. That's America first. But people really care about domestic issues. No more foreign wars, no more foreign aid. And that's what I wanted to bring to The View today and actually have a civil conversation about.
So tell us a little bit about this. I've been on The View twice, and I remember, and the first time was when Trump had just won, and I was obviously way out in front pro-Trump at Fox, and I was probably the first person really at Fox to push him before Sean Hannity, my dear friend, who was Ted Cruz at first. We've talked about this before. So I'm going on The View, and I know they're going to attack me because they hated Trump all the way back in 2016, as the beginning of 2017. Actually, he was sworn in. So, and I'm going on, and I'm like, I know I'm going to get just beat up. It's going to be 5-on-1. And I did a little something. I don't know if you did this, but I walked out there and I had brought roses to each one of the ladies at The View. It kind of got Joy Behar toned down, Whoopi toned down a little bit, but that Sunny Hostin, man, she was just a pit bull. She just attacked me. Did you tell them in advance you want to have a civil conversation?
I didn't actually had no communication with any of them in advance. And so, but they had been saying some nice things about me leading into this. And it was really from my heart. I felt like it was the appropriate way to go about the show. And, people see it. This is all we see from the left and the right. All you ever see is fighting and name calling. And I really don't think that is going to heal our country. And I don't think that is going to solve problems. And so I took it upon myself. I'm a leader. I'm an elected leader. And I felt like it was the appropriate stance for me to take. And I was very appreciative that they had the exact same stance and treated me the same way. So I think this is a good direction to go in.
Can I be a little skeptical, not of you, of them? Maybe a little skeptical. Is it possible that they see the writing on the wall? They see, 60 Minutes kind of toning down their interview with Trump. They see, various people. Barry Weiss comes from the center-ish print, goes there, says they're not going to rip Trump the way they have. Maybe they're seeing the writing on the wall that America wants a little less Trump derangement syndrome, and maybe this was their opportunity, maybe an olive branch using you, but also maybe an olive branch to MAGA.
Maybe that is, that could be what it was, Eric. And, we can't change their opinions of Donald Trump. These are opinions that people have had. Trump derangement syndrome is real. We've been watching it live for almost 10 years now. And that's something that's really hard to get people to change. But I think when we come together and we discuss policy, and talk about what do we share as Americans and what's important for our future, I think that's where we can find bridges. And I think that's incredibly important. I'm really, I ran for Congress, Eric, mad at Republicans and Democrats, both sides, because it's taken decades to destroy our country and get us to where we're $38 trillion in debt. And, I serve in Congress, and that's where my frustrations are. It's not at the president at all. My frustrations are in Congress because we're the legislative branch. We should be passing bills. We should be passing the agenda that the American people voted for, and we're not. We're literally shut down. I'm angry at the speaker. I think the House should be in session. We should be doing our job. And over in the Senate, Democrats can reopen the government, but Republicans can do it too. And I called for to end the filibuster and use the nuclear option a month ago. So MTG, these are just truths.
I don't want to cut you off. We'll expand on that in just a bit. I just want to stay on this because, they billed this last week. MTG's coming on, and they kind of hyped it up, and we're all. And I'm not disappointed that there weren't fireworks. I'm just concerned about the motivation for them treating you nicely. I see how they talk about Trump nonstop. I see how they talk about MAGA nonstop. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because you happen to be the one person that will go on there and actually take an issue that, like, everything Trump does isn't necessarily in the best interest of your district, and maybe that's where they saw their opening. What was their motivation? I just don't think they've seen the light that conservatism is actually a viable option to what the form of, I don't know, government socialism that they would choose.
Honestly, I couldn't answer that question for them. I don't know what their motives were, but they did tell me they've invited other Republicans on. They said they've invited Mike Johnson quite a few times, and he won't come on. And I think that's wrong. Imagine if more Republicans went on shows like The View, and we bring our ideas and our policies and explain our viewpoint, just like I did today and representing my district. I think that's personally, I think that's the right way to go about it. Instead of sitting in our camps, locked in our own sides and just continually fighting each other. So I don't know what their motivations were. Perhaps it was the overwhelming win in 2024 at the election, and Americans just having a sentiment of they're tired of the political drama.
Yeah, that's not it, because they've been just horrendous to a lot of us on the right since the way. I'm not going to go with that. Our guys pulled some clips from the show today for the folks to see. Take a look at this, where you say that you're I guess you're nonpartisan in your criticism when things look wrong to you. Watch.
Trump is reportedly calling his MAGA cronies because they say that you're slamming Republicans too much. Well, you're taking my job. You're slamming Republicans a lot on topics like health care, the Epstein files. We know he's still your favorite president. I mean, Truman is mine. I dated him.
But I did not date Donald Trump. But I do love him.
You do love him, yeah.
Yes, I did.
All right, well, whatever. So when was the last time you spoke to him? And what's with the the tension between the two of you? Now, you may love him, but he may not love you back right now.
Well, that's okay. I mean, Donald Trump, he usually yells at everybody, so we're all used to it. But he's the president of the United States. And here's something you all may not know about me. I think a lot of people on the left are learning that when I ran for Congress in 2020, I ran criticizing Republicans and Democrats equally, because I come from a working class family, ran a construction company for over 20 years, and I feel like the government has failed all of us. And it purely disgusts me. It really does. And I represent a district that is rural, manufacturing district, blue collar workers, and people have been crushed by decades of failure in Washington, D.C. And so I have no problem pointing fingers at everyone. And the worst thing that I just can't get over is we're not working right now. And I put that criticism directly on the Speaker of the House. And we should be at work. All the people sitting in this audience, they go to work every day. People at home watching this show, they go to work every day. Ladies, you go to work every day. The people on your set, and it is an embarrassment to me that we're not in session.
Very interesting, because you've been on here saying that Speaker Johnson, he's kind of at fault. There are so many of these executive orders, some even bills that you brought up that Speaker Johnson won't bring to the floor to vote. What do you think is going on with Johnson? We can still talk about the View, but I just want to just dip into that a little bit.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea why we're not in session. And just like you said, we have mountains of bills that we could all be voting on that reflect the president's executive orders. I have multiple bills that are his executive orders. We have committees that we could be doing work on. I chair the Doge subcommittee. I've had to stop all of my hearings that I had planned, and so has everyone else. But there's absolutely, Eric, to me, it's a complete failure that we're not in session. And I can't even believe that our Republican speaker has literally told us not to come to work, because that's not what the American people are doing every day. And I think that's a very poor look for our entire country to see Congress just not going to work. And there's no excuse for it. And that's why I'm calling it out. And I think it's right to call it out.
I think it's right to call anyone out who's not doing their job, including Republicans, including rhinos, including a guy named Speaker Mike Johnson, and that other guy on the Senate side called John Thune. Just do your damn jobs, guys. Just represent MAGA, America first. Don't represent rhino policies from an era that's clearly behind us in the rearview mirror. We don't want liberals. We don't want progressives. We don't want socialists. We also don't want rhinos. I'm speaking for people who I talk to.
That's right.
I don't mean to speak for you. Congresswoman, can you stick around after the break and do another segment with us?
Sure.
Okay, cool. We'll be right back, folks, with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. First, I want to just thank you for subscribing to The Edge. Take a look at a couple of these pictures here. The next segment, we're putting this together right now. Beau on the right, sitting with Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. And there's Beau back in the day. Beau was a cop, a New York City detective who grew up in neighborhoods with the mob, with the mobsters and the gangsters. At some point, he was busting perps all over the place. Martin Scorsese says, Beau, I want you for my films. And he starts putting him in Goodfellas, in Wolf of Wall Street. Beau will sit down with us because he's a living proof of The Edge and what The Edge is all about. Hit that full screen right there with the QR code. Use your phone. Just hit that. When you open your camera on that, hit that yellow thing line that you will subscribe. I will tell you, your subscription means the world to me and to this. We're the number one show. We're 0.1% in our growth of all new YouTube shows because of you. YouTube.com/@EricBollingTheEdge. YouTube.com/@EricBollingTheEdge. Subscribe. I appreciate you, your viewership, your support, and your subscription. We will be back with Marjorie Taylor Greene in 2.5 minutes.